it's Nicole and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to give you an update on how my Catasetum orchids are doing. So a lot of these guys came out of dormancy pretty late, and some of them I started watering 2 weeks ago, and others I am just about to start watering them. I'm slowly giving a few of them water. The ones that have a little drip tray on the bottom, those have been watered. So I'm going to show you how these orchids are doing, some of the challenges I've been facing with them, and I'm going to give you an update on my Monurara Millennium Magic Witchcraft as well. If you guys like this kind of video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more orchid content. Let's jump right in. So these orchids right here are the ones furthest along in coming out of dormancy. I've started watering these about 2 weeks ago, and they're all a little bit funky. So this one is the Catasetum Chuck and Louise. This one had a growth that started very low, and it kind of struggled to come down. So I had to dig into it, put a little hole in the sphagnum moss to give this room. But now it looks like it's coming along well. It's got an additional growth coming in. The roots have been really taking over the pot. This one's in a clear pot, so it's nice and easy to see, but you could see that that growth started low. So hopefully this will finally bloom for me. It never bloomed for me since I got it in November of 2020. So hopefully this is the year we get blooms. This is growing in a really weird fashion. You could see like the bulbs are all kind of away from each other, and for it to grow so low was a little odd to see. I guess I did bury it a little deeper than it should have been, but we'll see how this does. But this one is getting full water now. I generally want to water when the roots are at least 3 to 4 inches long. You could go further with that, but this one started having roots circling the bottom of the pot, so this was ready. So no surprise for these two here. These have bloomed previously for me, and they started spiking. So they were spiking before I gave them water, which is great. This one over here is the Catasetum Chuck Taylor Way Good, crossed with the Susan Fuchs Burgundy Chips. This one bloomed for me last year, and it's one of my most beautiful Catasetum orchids. Looks like I'm going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different blooms. Previously, I think the max I received was 3 or 4. This bloomed twice already from the last growth on both sides. It bloomed 2 times, so I'm really happy to see it. I do have it in a clay pot, so it's kind of hard to judge how many roots are down there and what the progress is, but just given that this growth is so large and the spike is looking good, I just went ahead and started watering 2 weeks ago, and I'm going to be giving it water daily because these orchids get very thirsty. It's really hot in the grow room, and I think it's going to start really pushing out new growths. It's the same case for this orchid over here. This one is the Catasetum Chuck Taylor SVO Sunshine crossed with the Catasetum Double Down XDPYL. I think that means extra dark purple lip. I'll write it down below. But this one, it's got roots coming down. I don't know how deep they are because this is a clay pot, so it's kind of like if you're a beginner, I highly suggest using clear pots. But I think this was ready just because the growth was kind of big. These roots look good. It's pushing out this spike, so I started watering it 2 weeks ago. I'm going to water it daily. This dries very quickly. Within 1 day, it's already dry. You could kind of see the roots circling around. So this shows me, like you could see this root coming here, like it circled down. So I think they're large enough. And these are going to be the ones that are going to take off the quickest, and they happen to be the ones that have already bloomed for me at least twice, so that makes a lot of sense to me. Let me show you the rest. So this is the last one I started watering. I think it's going to be a little soon. This is the Sicknookies Richard Brandon crossed with the Marin Gleason. This one grew in a very annoying spot, so the new growth came up really high after I repotted it. So I put a little moss on top there to try to get it a little moist. So I've been spraying it a little bit, but I'm noticing that the roots are stalling, so they look dry. So I don't know what's going to happen here. Maybe I went too soon on this, but I think I definitely did water it a little too soon. You can really tell when the roots are failing on you like that. So I probably should have waited. I did have moss there, but this was also kind of looking really dry. I did keep the original root ball in place when I watered this for the first time. It's actually still moist from when I watered it yesterday. So I think I'm gonna leave this, not water it any further. Let's see what happens here. I think I messed this up. You do want to see the roots 3 to 4 inches. But this was looking dry, so I think I just should have waited a little longer. I know it's July, but you really want to wait for those roots to be 3 to 4 inches long. The issue is that I had a period of very dry humidity, so I did notice a couple of roots just stop even before I watered, so I sprayed it to see if it'll continue, and they all kind of like stalled. So I just wanted to show you. So I think just keeping the humidity high is the best bet instead of watering. So I think I butchered this, but we'll see what happens. I'll keep you updated. If I could do it again, I wouldn't have watered, but let's see what happens. Let's see if this makes it. Catasteums, orchids are pain in the ass, but this was a nice bloom. Too bad it grew so high up. If it grew further down below in the pot, I think I could have waited a while longer. I wouldn't have to deal with the dryness of the roots being exposed out like that, but we'll see what happens. Moving on to the Monurara Millennium Magic Witchcraft. This one's much easier to gauge when to water. I put this one in a clear pot. This was all I had. I hate slatted pots for this reason. The roots just grow out of them. But the roots have come down. They're basically circling the bottom of the pot. I started watering about a week or two ago, and this one's looking good. So I started watering when I first noticed those roots on the bottom, like starting to come down, and that means that these roots are about 4 or 5 inches long. They're much longer now, so this will be just fine, and it'll grow well. This one's very easy to grow. I know it's it has a growth pattern where it has to go dormant, which you guys are aware of if you've seen my other Catasetum videos, but when it's time to water, it's grows really, really fast. So I suspect this growth is going to grow very quickly. I'm sure it's going to at least match the size of this bulb or exceed it. The leaves are going to get super long, but hopefully we'll get even more blooms than last year. And last year we got lots of blooms. So can't wait to see this, and I'll keep you posted. The rest of these orchids are not quite ready for water yet, but I started spraying them a little bit to give them a little bit of moisture. They're getting really dry, like this one over here. This one feels like nothing, so this one's dying off. So I sprayed it a little bit. This one's the Catasteums Richard Brandon. I hope this one does well. I did not want to water this one too soon, but thankfully, unlike the Marin Gleason cross, this one is growing into the pot, so we'll see what happens. I think I'm going to give it water though, because if you could see, this is completely deflated. Like, you can see it's like completely gone. So I don't want this to die, but I'm very wary of Catasteums orchids. So I did spray it. I think I might give it a little drink. I'm not sure how deep the roots are, but they might. I don't know. I did keep the original root ball in there, so we'll see what happens. This one is the Catasetum Chuck Taylor. This one has not bloomed for me yet since I got in November 2020, so no surprises that this one is taking its time. I find that the ones that bloomed and the ones that have bloomed multiple times have grown the most. This one, no blooms yet, but the growth from last year was larger than the previous growth, so I think this will be fine. We see a root circling right there, so I think it's close to being ready for water. I did spray it, but I'm sure there's going to be some roots in there. Maybe I'll give it a couple of days before fully watering. This one right here is the Cloacea Rebecca Northern, and this one's not ready for water quite yet. I did spray it. You can see kind of like the tiny little roots. Right here we have some slow release fertilizer. I kept the original plug there, but we'll see what happens. It's getting a little desiccated. It's getting kind of late, so I'm really itching to water it, but I don't think it's ready yet. So I'm going to give this a couple more days. Did spray it, but hopefully the roots don't die off. Last one I'm going to show you is the Catasetum dentigrianum crossed with the Catasetum Memorial Raoul Mortera Pinedo. This one bloomed for me last year. This one I really like, actually. I used to have an orchid called Catasetum Rustwood. It was very similar to this one, but this one I found that I like the flowers a little bit more. Good root growth. Don't think it's ready. Did spray it down a bit, but I think these are just a few days to a few weeks from really soaking through, so we'll see what happens. Well, anyway, guys, let me know down in the comments if you grow catasetums, how far along they are. I know it's a lot. I know that it's very environment dependent, so let me know if you guys are fully watering your catasetums now or if they're late like me. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you guys soon. Bye, everyone.